Morning to the DMV and the rest of the world. This is your girl, Reese Cup, that aka the best that ever did it, aka you know who I am, aka what's up, y'all, aka Althea McFarland AM Morning. Today we have a great show for you today. We're going to discuss I always like to give little nuggets of information or what I think that I'm giving nuggets of information. I'm just sharing, a little bit of history with our people. Today, we're going to talk about one of two things. First thing we're going to talk about is the babies of world brown babies, that is. Not any particular babies, not white babies, not all black babies, but these brown babies of World War II. These are the children that was produced when World War II, when we was over there in Great Britain. This is the British invasion, I guess, of the black man, where we had our soldiers over there fighting, but they were still segregated in the military. You all know that. And they were segregated when they went to Britain as well. They had to keep the same standards and policy and practice that they couldn't fraternize with the British woman. It was against the law for black people to marry or interracial relationship. Let's just think about that. Can we fathom the thought that now, when you look at so many interracial relationships now, that was once against the law? You know that people uh, were permitted to be with one another strictly because of color. Not because of religion, just strictly because of color. That was just amazing that people were able to do that. But today on the Morning Mac Show, we're going to discuss the effect that it had on Great Britain, where all our lovely brown people that cohabited or produced these babies with these British women, and how the babies was treated. They came across. You would think, oh, because you're mixed, you're half and half, that the white half would get you treated a little bit better than the dark half. No, they were treated even worse than the black people. Um, I was listening to some of these stories, and as I was reading and some of this information, and I was like, wow, you were too black for the white people and too white for the black people. And then your daddy left and went back to the U.S. And a lot of these soldiers didn't even know they had children left behind. And it just like flooded the orphanages and stuff like that. When I hear about stuff like that, that just breaks my heart, because it's children that suffers. And we all know that when you're a child and you go through traumatic stress and you suffer, that 9 times out of 10 you're going to grow up as an adult with some type of issue. It just hurt my heart. And then I want to talk about male sensitivity or male uh, reproductive sort of touch on that a little bit. But we're going to get into our first clip. Let's see. Do we got anybody in the house today? Uh, Let me see. Is my people coming in? Are they liking and they sharing? Let me see if I see any comments. Y'all know I can't have see, so bear with me. Bear with me. And let me take a look, see who's riding with us today. Who fell in? Oh, let's see. Let's see. Okay, come on in, people. I see Molly Mall in the house. Other people on here watching via YouTube. Hey, Slicky Woo Boo in the house. Hey, my brother. Hey, y'all. Woo's in the house. Hey, Woo. And to all the other people that's in the house and all that good stuff. We're going to run, before we run our first clip, I just want to tell you guys about a show that we did last night out in Baltimore. It was called Bar Infused out in Baltimore, and D-Lo, show hosted by D-Lo. It was funny. It was a good show. Tippy Tall Girl was there. Baltimore Tippy Tall Girl. The Gwen Factor was there. Wu was there, and a lot of other great comedians was there. Hey Gwen, the Gwen Factor is in the house today. Good morning. Good morning, Gwen. If you, let me know if you want to get in on the show today, or we could have you come in tomorrow. I don't know what you want to do. That's my girl Gwen. We rocked it. We were out there, and we did what we came down to Baltimore to do. We gave it some DMV love, and they gave us love back. So it's a good spot, and I think they're there every Wednesdays. I'm not sure, but I would definitely find out and let you guys know. It's called Bar Infused, and it's in Baltimore. I can't remember 1117 West 39th Street. I think that's the address. But y'all go ahead and look it up, and go out there and have a good time. Food and drinks and the nice atmosphere. It's all right. It was all right. Okay. Gwen said not today. She just listening today. So we can't get no jokes on the show today. Gwen's not in. She just listening. Okay, back to the topic of the brown babies of World War II. And everybody said, oh, British this and Britain's that. Britain ain't no different than America. You forget that the people from Britain came to America. So they the same folks. So the same treatment of us is the same. So don't be fooled or misled if you think that the people across the water love us, because they don't. They treat us just like the people over here treat us, and they don't look at us as being human or equal to them. I'm not going to say human. I take it back. They don't look at us as being equal to them. They look at themselves as being better. So, but here's the first videos, and you would see how these brown babies were treated. These military men went over there and impregnated a lot of these British women. And they said a lot of the British never even seen black people except for in movies or on TV or whatever have you. So when they actually went over there, they said a lot of those girls were intrigued, and they said, "Oh, how black men are so nice and polite." When they was in the military, they had to be nice and polite. They had to say, "Yes, ma'am," "Yes, sir." They had to shine for you. They got over there, got them babies, and boom. You'll see, and you'll listen to one of these stories of something that happened to this a lady in this film that we about to show. Listen and watch this, y'all.
The Yanks are coming with a vengeance. Within 7 weeks.
When Black American GIs started arriving in Britain in 1942, the US Department of Defense produced a film to educate the young men who were due to be stationed here about what sort of welcome they might receive.
Well, goodbye, ma'am.
Goodbye. It's been very nice meeting you both.
Glad to have met you, I'm sure.
Funny you should come from Birmingham, too, isn't it? Have you come to my Birmingham, you've come to my home and have a cup of tea with me.
It's estimated that at least 2 million American servicemen passed through the UK during World War II, and tens of thousands of them were black.
Now, let's be frank about it. There are colored soldiers as well as white here, and there are less social restrictions in this country. Just what you heard, an English woman asking a colored boy to tea. She was polite about it, and he was polite about it. Now, look, that might not happen at home, but the point is, we're not at home. And the point is, too, if we bring a lot of prejudices here, what are we going to do about them?
The African American GIs stationed in Britain were forced to abide by the racial segregation laws that applied in the deep south of the US. Lucy Bland is a historian and the author of Britain's Brown Babies.
It's a segregated army. It says segregated in 1948. The vast majority of the GIs came from the deep south, and white GIs attacked black GIs with impunity. That's what's so shocking. The thing is, the American soldiers were all under the jurisdiction of the American military. So they had very particular jobs. The black GIs, they came and built the air bases. In fact, they were not allowed to fly. They built the air bases, they maintained the planes. They weren't allowed in Britain to bear arms.
The black soldiers often formed positive relationships with local people, and not just their skin colour, but their manners and attitudes made them stand out from their white American counterparts.
They were pretty much all over the country, particularly sort of home counties, East Anglia.
And these areas were very white areas.
Very white areas. Many people had never seen a black person before, except probably on a film.
And how were the black GIs treated by the locals?
Well, the black GIs were often really liked, and they were seen as much more attractive than the white GIs because they were seen as much politer. So I think for many, they were very attractive.
But no matter how attractive, black GIs in the segregated US Army were forbidden from marrying their white girlfriends.
Although the US military denied that there was an actual law, every GI had to get permission from the commanding officer. And invariably, the commanding officers who were white would refuse it. And if pushed, their rationale was that back in the States, there were then 48 states, 30 had anti-miscegenation laws that forbade marriage between whites and blacks.
Local people in Ipswich were very surprised at how badly the black GIs were treated compared to the white.
Babs Gibson Ward is one of about 2,000 babies born to white British women and black American GIs during World War II.
The people in East Anglia were very supportive of the black GIs, and so they would invite them to their homes, invite them for family meals. The family that I was born into, they got to know my natural father very well.
Babs's mother was already married to an English naval officer when she met a black US Air Force engineer at a dance.
I guess one thing led to another when they started socializing with the local GIs, and they had, parties and dances and things like that going on.
Lucy Bland says even when the black GIs were off base, they were still subject to the US Army's racial segregation rules.
And then they have these dances, again, segregated by colours. So certain nights it will be a so-called black dance and then a white dance. And pubs also, quite a lot of pubs. This will be a black pub, that will be a white pub.
Then relationships started to form, and both my mother and her sister paired up with GIs.
Her mother fell pregnant in 1944, but she never told her black GI boyfriend about the baby. He returned to the US without knowing. When her mother's Navy officer husband returned after the war, he didn't question whether he was Babs's father until later.
My skin was very fair, and so she thought, I think, that she was going to get away with it and pass me off as his. But by the time the following late spring happened, my skin started to darken significantly, and it was obvious that I wasn't his child. But my stepfather, when he realized I was put out in the garden, at the bottom of the garden, and not allowed to come into the house, which meant that she knew that I would have to be put into care.
Nearly half of the mixed-race babies were given up to children's homes, but few were adopted. They were thought too hard to place. The African-American press named these children brown babies. The British called them half-castes. When she was just 5 months old, Babs was sent away from her family in Ipswich. She lived in a children's home for the next 4 years. Then a foster family came forward, and it seemed like a new start. But Babs faced racial abuse at school.
People in the neighborhood wouldn't allow their children to play with me. And then when I went to school, most of the hostility was actually encouraged by my classroom teacher. He would actually get the children to ridicule me. He would take me out into the playground with the children and tell them that I could climb a pole like a monkey climbs a tree. And so if they asked me, then I should demonstrate this at playtime. And this used to really, really upset me. And then the other thing he did was he sat me at the back of the classroom away from all of the other children, and he would give me jigsaw puzzles and coloring books And he would tell the other children that I didn't have the same brain as white children. I wasn't being taught like the other children. I was just left to play at the back of the class.
And when you were racially abused by your teacher and made to feel stupid, did you understand why that was happening?
No, I didn't. I really didn't. They more or less said that because I was different, that I didn't have the same intelligence as all of the other children, the white children in the class, but I refused to believe it.
When her foster mother died, Babs was removed from her foster family and placed in another children's home. She was 10 years old. 3 years later, her birth mother came to collect her, nearly 14 years after she had given her up. It was not the reunion that Babs had expected.
The matron introduced me to this woman who she said was my mother, and she was a total stranger. So I looked at her and I was puzzled because not only was she a total stranger, but she was white. And I couldn't make sense of any of this because I always thought my natural mother would be like me.
At this stage, Babs, did you know anything about your mother?
No, absolutely nothing.
Until that day when you were 14.
Yeah.
And how were you feeling?
I didn't have a say. I had to go home with her. And I didn't want to.
So she never told you why she'd come to collect you or why she'd waited all this time?
No.
Babs Gibson Ward had a difficult relationship with her birth mother, who had split up with her husband and was abusive to her mixed-race child. Babs was musically gifted, but her mother ignored teachers who encouraged her talents. Eventually, Babs left home and trained as a nurse. It was at this point that she started to try to find out more about her birth father. But even getting basic information from the children's charity Bernardo's, which held her records, wasn't easy.
And it wasn't until there was the Freedom of Information Act that was passed that I decided to have another go. And I went down to Bernardo's to ask to see my records.
Lucy Bland says that once records started being made available in the 1990s, it was remarkable how much information there was.
So lots of people who've been in Bernardo's have had a huge struggle to get the records. And when they do get the records, what's extraordinary is the very minute detail that is kept about them. You know, every kind of day there's something written, often pretty unpleasant, sort of so-and-so did this or did that. And they'll know all about the parents, but have lied to the children and told them nothing.
And once I got those records, then I started to trace my roots really in America. My father was alive up to his 89th birthday, but then died of cancer. And so I never met him.
How difficult was it for you to get this information about your birth father?
They didn't want to give any information to me. They just said they had a duty to protect other people's relationships and lives. And so what that meant was I had to do most of the research myself. I actually wrote to one of the officials that would do the family trace in America. And I was able to get his social security number. I was able to get a copy of his death certificate. I was able to get named people on that death certificate.
And what did it mean to you to find this American family and to find out more about your birth father?
I think for me, it means that at least I have some understanding of where I come from. And it would be lovely just to know that they're interested in me as I am as interested in them.
Having been lied to by her birth mother and given no information by the children's home, what Babs discovered about her father was a revelation to her.
I managed to trace my grandmother, and as soon as she saw me, she instantly said that I was my father's double. And that's the first I ever heard anybody make any reference to him.
This lack of knowledge about their family histories has had a hugely detrimental effect and meant that many of these children have gone on to have very difficult lives. Lucy Bland.
They really had a kind of history that was sort of wiped out for them as well. So they were growing up in kind of ignorance about their roots, about their heritage. So that lack of belonging, not only were the British not embracing them as British, and they were legally British with British mothers, but they knew nothing about their past. And, you know, they experienced so much kind of ostracism and racism and stigma, that I think they were really constructed as kind of outsiders. And I think that was incredibly hard for them. So it's been a unknown history that should be known.
Many of the so called brown babies, now in their early 70s, have spent a lifetime searching for their parents, and Babs knows that being able to trace her father, she is one of the luckier ones.
Well, it made me realize that I'm not alone. There's many people in the same situation as me. But I have found out a lot more than most people know about their roots.
And what would it have meant to you, Babs, if you had been able to find out more about your birth father earlier?
I think to know whether we are alike, whether, we share the same interests. So I was sad that I did not have an opportunity to write to him, but I can't turn the clock back. Not to know anything about yourself is really tough. To go through life in a family and have a whole neighborhood not want to play with you, not want to let their children play with you, is tough. And not to understand why, other than that you're the wrong shade. I never wanted to be anything different to what I was. I just wanted to be accepted for who I was. But I think what it does for me is it will always be there. I will always have some kind of deficit in my life of never knowing, true family relationships.
That was Babs Gibson Ward. I was also talking to Lucy Bland, the author of Britain's Brown Babies, for this edition of Witness History.
Wow. Okay, you see what I'm talking about. So over there in Great Britain, we was treated the same way over there that we were here in America. Even though that our soldiers was over there fighting, they may have been dapper and debonair. That's still that stinking mind frame that we were less than or we were not their equal. You're right. We were not their equal because we were better. We proven that time and time again in a sense that we would have not treated them the way they treated us. We was not trying to enslave a race or a culture of people for capital gain. That's just not what we were doing. And a lot of those babies and a lot of those mixed races and over there was taken by their mothers and or the mother, don't forget, it was given up by their mother because of the race. I need Dr. Katina on this. Katina Thomas. I don't know if she looking. If she looking, I don't know. Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Bernice. Good morning, Gerline. We got Ron Hunt in the house. And I already said good morning to Molly and the Gwen Factor, y'all. We're talking about brown babies of World War II. We're talking about how our black military soldiers went over there and impregnated just about half of Great Britain with the brown baby wave. You know, a lot of us say good because when we get to you, once you get 1 ounce of brown or black in you, you're black. And we made a whole bunch of beautiful brown babies. But the treatment and the way they treated our brown babies was just horrible. And this is supposed to be Great Britain at a high esteem. Why do we hold Great Britain in such high esteem anyway? Why? They're no different from nowhere else. So why do we even look at them? Why do you even call their family the royals over here in America and give them that? Why do we pay them homage like that? It's just people. It just it boggles the mind. It really does that we will put such great esteem on on these people, but and we don't even know why we do it because we are conditioned and brainwashed. It's time for us to wake up, and you really need to see some things and what's going on around you. You got the red pill or the blue pill, and the way they treat us and how a lot of mixed cultures got into over there and infiltrated Great Britain. Do any of our listeners have anything to say about that? Do you guys want to comment on that? You want to say anything? Hey, Lauren. Hey, Latrice. Hey, boo. I got Cassandra and Latrice in the house. Sisters are back at it. I see. We're talking about the brown babies of World War II. So, and a lot of them didn't even know. A lot of the men didn't even know that they had babies over there across the water. That's how come we're cousins and stuff. That's how come so many people cousin when you do that ancestral DNA and you say, "Oh, I got relatives here. I got relatives there." Yeah, yeah, you do, because they have always been intermingling and trying to infiltrate our DNA. Slavery, of course. That just lets you know how mongreled up you are. Did I say mongrel? Did I say that? Oh, yes, I did. Meaning, you're not pure blood. Nobody here in America is pure blood. Our DNA is all mixed up with a little bit of everything. So you call it good, bad, or whatever, different. To me, it's just human. It's just one race. It's just human. Because if we're all associated and some type linked, 6 degrees of separation, there is just one race. It's human. But until we understand that and try to treat people with respect and not call them savages and animals and all of that, you're never gonna get nowhere. You gotta wake up a little bit. But yeah, and I wanna also let me just interject right here. Rest in peace or rest in power to Coolio. Another one of our artists struck down. Um, well, he wasn't struck down. He just passed. We don't know what happened. They don't think it's any foul play or anything like that. But he was only 59, y'all. 59. They dying young. I was talking to my cousin the other day. A lot of us are dying, men and women, early. We're not even making it to see 60. A half of you ain't even making it to see 55. A lot of people are just, it's just, whoo, if they're designing to get rid of us, that's what they're doing. We can't even reproduce anymore like a normal culture or society, because our black men are either uh, batting for the other team, they're either incarcerated, or they either some kind of way they infiltrated the black families, the black home communities, people of color, and we're not producing like they think we are. And the ones that's here, they're busy killing us off one way or another. We're passing, we steady passing away young. Y'all gotta take a look at that. Take care of yourself. Take the proper vitamins, and I don't mean so much with the jab and all of that, because I don't know, that could be what's hurting you. You got to do further research, but we didn't do enough research, and we already know. And more than 90% of us already took that jab. So we all know. We don't know what's in it. We don't know what it's going to do for the future. I'm not saying right now, for the future, for the next generation. We don't know what their life expectancy going to be. We don't know what their children or how their children are going to turn out. Do you know why we don't know that? Because they didn't do any research on it, because they can't do any research on something future. How you going to do research on that? All you can do is guesstimate. And a lot of times they wrong. They can't even get the weather right. So you want to leave them, or let them tell you what the future going to look like, or what's going to happen, or what they're going to do, this, that, and the third? Uh, no, I don't think so. Let me see. Let me see. Do anybody got any comments of what we're talking about, or how do you feel about that? Oh no, if not, let's keep the party going. Let's go to the next clip. Molly, if you can run the next clip for me. It's a short one, y'all. It's just like 2 minutes long, not even that long. So we can go on to that. Molly won't have it keyed up for y'all in 1 second. regarding these black and brown babies?
A
That's it.
Scottish stepfather, but I always knew about my natural father, and it's great that other people know of their lineage, for want of a better word, and I think it's great that loads of other people get to have the opportunity to see what it's been like for a whole lot of people that they might have thought of in one way and not really given the time to be able to appreciate the kind of lives that we have had. I consider that I've had a good life. I've not always made the best of it. Still trying to make up my mind what I'm going to do when I grow up. But yeah, brilliant. I'm just so fortunate. I do have family in the States that I didn't know about before. I knew all about my father from my mother. She used to tell me the stories of what she endured when they were going out together. Yeah, people need to know.
Okay. And he said people need to know. People need to know how they were mistreated. People need to know how they came about over there. You know, the World War II, the invasion of the black man over there in Great Britain. People need allergies. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. This time of the year, allergies, eyes watering, or whatever is blooming this time of the year got me. Well, that's why I gotta take my vitamins and and get plenty of rest and drink your fluids and all that. Vitamin C helps, but it doesn't do a thing for the allergies as much. Woo! Thank you, sis. Thank you, Latrice. Um, but yeah, he was saying that people need to know. They need to know how they was mistreated. They need to know how they were sent in an orphanage. You know, could you imagine? You know, you get pregnant and you got to give your child up on the strength of the color. That's what they did here. But or they killed us. So a lot of us didn't make it. You know, we got one more clip to show that I'll go into the commentary and take questions from the viewing audience.
My mother was married. From what the pieces we put together, she was pregnant. Her fiance, she lets him know that she's become pregnant. So they bring him home in order to marry her. She got married in October of 44. They sent him back then to his regiment. And I was born in the February of 45. And of course, because of the colour, she knew I wasn't her husband's. So what she told him of where I'd got, goodness knows. Because as far as he was concerned, the only child he had was the one she had 18 months later. Within a week of me being born, I was down at Honeycutt House. Well, she had to get rid of me somehow, didn't she? Because she didn't know when he was going to get back. No, the only person that knew was her mother. And her mother kept that little secret to herself. If she wanted anything of her daughter and her daughter refused, the mother would say, I'll let your little secret out.
Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. That is so sad, and it's heartbreaking. You know, we man, black people in this world, when it comes to other cultures, they did a job on us. They really did how they treated us, and they made us feel less than. Is that why we treat each other the way we do in society? Is that why it's so easy for a black person to hurt another black person? Because we have been conditioned to do so, but they would think twice before they go and shoot somebody of another color. But it's like target your own people is target practice. Okay, yeah, I can shoot them, but what about shooting Mr. Johnny around the corner? Oh no, not Mr. Johnny, but I won't hesitate to shoot Rollo. No hesitation. We've been conditioned for so long, and I'm just trying to enlighten our people for those who want to be enlightened. I'm encouraging you all to do your own research. Like I said, never take anybody's word for fact, for truth, and just do your own research. You can read, you can Google it, or however you look up stuff and do your own research. The stuff will blow your mind. We have been through so much, and I'm saying this because nothing blows my mind anymore. Nothing surprised me anymore. Nothing at all. You think that these group of people over there in Great Britain, oh, they treat blacks favorable. They love blacks. There's a lot of blacks over there. Yeah, no. The answer is still no, because when they look at you, they see your color. They don't know where you from. You know, it's like, how can I put this? Okay, let's put it like this. When a person, when a white man looks at a person that's brown, no matter where they from, the first thing that comes to their mind, you in that category. You generalize. They don't look at you as being African, Jamaican, or Brazilian, or any of that. So get that out your head. So don't think because you come from a different country that you have a different status or a different uh yeah, a different a status, because you don't. All they see is this. This is what you are first. No matter if you come from Britain, no matter if you come from America, we all got that slave treatment. That indentured servitude treatment. They used to do that. They would take it's called the stroke, the Starkos. I can't think of the name of it, but look it up. How they would take babies uh, from the immigrants that left Africa, that came over to Great Britain. They would say, "Oh, you can't take care of your child, or you're not unfit parent," and they would take these children and place them into these white homes. But when they got to the white homes, they were servants for the servitude. Is that another way, a slick way of doing some type of slavery stuff? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you're not treated just as good as the main child, or just as good as any other resident in that household, then that's some type of servitude. That's some, you got, that's like Cinderella. You always got to clean up behind your wicked stepsisters. Same kind of difference. Slicky said, "Hey, you are doing a show. Stop looking at the phone. I'ma tell mama." I'm looking at the phone so I can read the comments, sir. Sometimes I cannot see on the laptop to read, or on the monitor to read, and I use the phone because I can put it close up to my eye so that I can see. Does that answer your question? And I know I'm doing the show. It's called a Morning Mac Show, not the Slicky Woo Boo Show. Thank you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I have a clip that I want to show y'all real quick. Switch gears now. We done talked about the brown babies of World War II, but I have a clip on the male reproductive. Uh, y'all just watch this clip and tell me what you think. And all the nasty people, just, I know what you're thinking, but don't think that.
It turns out sperm is a superfood. I hope I have the maturity level required to report this story. Anthony here for D News, and some researchers in Australia have found that in certain species of animals, the female regularly chooses to eat the semen of the male because it's highly nutritional. This particular study was published in Biology Letters, and it was done on a type of squid, but it can go across species. So let's all half giggle as we ask the legitimate question that's running through all of our heads. Is this true of humans? Well, yes, real talk. So typical male ejaculation fills a teaspoon, and in that teaspoon, you get about 200 separate proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Now, the exact content depends on the diet of the chef, but you can usually count on a good amount of vitamin C, calcium, fructose, 7% of your daily potassium, and all of your daily copper and zinc, all with only 25 calories and 11 milligrams of fat. That is not too shabby. The one thing that human semen doesn't have that people tend to assume it does is a lot of protein. You get about 25 milligrams, which is about the same as the egg whites of one egg. A lot of other bodily fluids are supposed to be pretty good for you too. Since we're in this general region of the body anyway, let's talk about urine. Urotherapy, which is drinking your own urine for health benefits, is mentioned as far back as ancient Egyptian medical texts. Urine is actually a really great antiseptic, which is why you've probably heard to pee on a jellyfish sting. But because of that, people actually used it for things like gingivitis, you know, like gargling with it. A few athletes have gone on record about drinking their urine after intense workouts because urine is super sterile, it's 95% filtered water, and then it's all nutrients, minerals, antibodies, and hormones. It's sort of like nature's Gatorade or something. Proponents also say that it's antiviral and can help with everything from the common cold to cancer, but there is no scientific evidence to support that. And finally, let's talk snot. Boogers, dog, you've eaten one. Maybe not in years, but you've eaten one. And recently, a Canadian biochemistry professor came up with a theory for why kids love doing it so much. Eating it might improve our immune system. Your mucus is a germ trap. It stops stuff from getting into your body and making you sick. But eating that mucus and digesting small amounts of those germs could help your body build up an immunity to it. We've talked before about eating different kinds of bacteria to change your microbiome. This could be the same thing. Boy, all this talk about food is making me hungry. How about you? Ugh. Seriously though, admit it, you've always wondered about this stuff. I have. I'm not afraid to say it. Leave something you've always been afraid to ask about science down below, and we'll cover some of them. And
Yeah. Yeah. That good book. Yeah. That was our promo plug for the good book, Shades of Blue by A.M. Morning. I tried to tell you all that this is a good book. Let me hold it back. Can y'all see this? Can y'all see this? This is a good book. You can see it on the side of me. Shades of Blue by A.M. Morning. This is a good book. Ooh, I'm trying to get a good seat on it. Can't show it. Anyway, that last little video, I thought it was hilarious because it's telling us that all of the excrements that come from our body, that there's some type of beneficial use for it, from eating cum or sperm or what have you, from drinking your own urine, and your own booger traps, own snotty. So they telling us there is, and they say could be. It's always that word could be. Who's going around doing research? Who is going around eating cum and saying, "Oh yeah, it's healthy. It's got good protein." But we've been doing that for years and years and years. There are even some culture that believe that that men's jizz is sacred, and they will feed it to the next men, the next generation of men. Could you imagine? Come here, son. Take this spoonful of your daddy's jizz. It's going to help you in life. Ew. But we do here in America. You have people that like to swallow. People that take that load. But some cultures that's like, oh, good old semen. Yay, semen. And then you got those sick people that use this. So pee is better than Listerine, huh? We'll switch to good old pee around for gingivitis. For ginger, I mean, it's just like, wow. And it just tickled me. Like everything that our body produce as waste, they're telling us that we could put it back in our body. Out go, in go. So they even at poop. Some people are even poop lovers. If you licking butt, you down there licking some doo doo. You are. But all that bacteria and stuff is to me it's disgusting. I don't want to lick your jizz. I don't want to drink your pee, and I definitely don't want to eat your snot. You know, it's nasty to me. That's why we blow our nose. We get it out of our body. Okay, that's why we cough it up, phlegm. We cough it up. That's why we drink. And yes, our body filters the waste. They're saying that urine is filtered water. Uh, Hello, I would not drink water that smell or look like urine. That's acid. That water would tear your butt up. But you're telling me it's okay to put it back into my body. And it's okay for me to even gargle with it, that it'll kill bacteria in your mouth, gingivitis. Well, don't you know there's a whole bunch of bacterial and stuff in the urine? So that's not making any sense to me. That scientific study, I ain't trying to be a part of that. And your own little booger traps. What y'all think about that? Would y'all drink your own urine? If you do, don't tell nobody. And if you swallowing, don't tell nobody. Ain't nobody gonna tell nobody that anyway. And if you eating your boogers, don't tell nobody. Y'all better get you some damn good vitamins. That's all I got to say. And some oranges or some other way. Here is the thing. Oh darn it, I can't see it. You don't have to do it. You have to. You have others that obviously enjoy it. Ain't that the truth? Some people actually do enjoy that. They get some type of erotic sensation off of that, off of a swallowing, and even golden showers and all of that. What's in the back of a person's mind that stimulates them? I can't judge. All I'm saying that yeah, it's not in my mind. Latrice is saying, ew. It's a ew, but it's a real ew. You know, they really do that. You know, and say it in the membrane. But who knows that your bacteria, your snot, has all that beneficial properties, and they don't really know that. They don't really. If that was the case, why do them kids stay sick? Little snotty no kids eat boogers all day, every day. All the kids just nose just running and they crying, sucking it back in and licking it with their lips. And them kids stay sick. So how can they say that has healing or beneficial properties? Latrice said, let me see. I used to live next door to a Pakistani family. They drank their own pee. Oh, the man told me that himself. Wow. Is that what they do in the desert out there in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and all of that? Is they drink their own urine? Maybe. Maybe. Wow. That's really something. Well, like my cousin said, as the saying goes, to each his own. You right. Mazel tov. My hats get off to you, but give me a nice bottle of Merlot. I don't or a Moscato. I don't want no PP. Vintage PP. Give me some. And I heard of them drinking viper piss in other countries like Indonesia and China. Snake bowed up. They eat the bowed up from other animals. So I guess they said if those animals have healing properties, so does the human body. I don't want your. You keep your jizz. Keep your jizz. I don't want that. You keep your pee. As a matter of fact, you keep all your body fluids over there in your body, from your blood, your snot, your jizz. They will find everything and repurpose everything. Goodness gracious, they take your sweat out. They take everything that your body expels as waste. Isn't that like eating in a trash can? I mean, like when we take garbage and we throw garbage away, are we, well, some people do, never mind. I was about to say, are we going in the garbage, eating garbage? But some people do. So I digress. Look, like my cousin Z said, to each his own. To each his own. Because you do have some people that eat our trash cans. So, ooh, I tell you, there's so much drama going on in this world. But all you really have to do is focus and concentrate on yourself, doing better for yourself. Doing better for you ultimately will spill over, and you do better for your people around you. You know what I mean? And that spill over. Let that be infectious. Let that be uh contagious. You know, let the love and peace be contagious. Can we do that? We still got the monkeypox, the COVID, we got HIV, we still got all of these things to contend with in the world. But let your love and your smile, let that be infectious and contagious to the people. And to all of my family and friends that's in Florida, um, stay strong, weather the storm. And if you had those bad places, I'm sorry because Ron DeSantis, uh, ooh, I just, But if you want to get rescued, like like Gobert, like Stephen Gobert said, if you want to get rescued and you want to evacuate, just say you're an immigrant or an immigrant migrant. They'll put you on the plane somewhere nice. You might end up in Hawaii. You might end up in Martha's Vineyard. just say you're an illegal. You'll end up somewhere nice. Don't even got to worry about being evacuated. That's a damn shame. Woo. That is. And let me check the time because I think it's time. It's about that time where our show is coming to an end. Um, yes, let me give you my quick commercial plugs there. Uh, we're getting ready to come to an end, but y'all pick up Shades of Blue by AM Morning and Molly Moss Sea Moss. We got a combination going, $20 for the book and the jar of sea moss, which is a $30 retail value. You get it for 20. We get knocking $10 off. We slicing the prices. That's crazy, right? Take the sea moss, leave the boogers and the semen alone. Take the sea moss and not the cement. See, that's what you take before you start gurgling with some pee pee. Before you start gargling with some urine, just take the sea moss before you do that. Before you start swallowing some snot, get you some sea moss before you something that that'll help. And like I said, I actually did a little research. It has 102 vitamins and minerals in it, which 92 of the vitamins and minerals that's in the sea moss that our body needs. So I'm like, you get some sea moss, win-win. 92, 102. But those other 10 vitamins, I don't know. Would that do? Maybe nothing. But I would try my hand with sea moss before I go get some jizz or some jizz, some mucus, or some pee. Go to sea moss. It won't smell like, it won't taste like. Ooh, I tell you, I'm just that just. I thought that was as interesting to me, you know. To each his own, people. To each his own. So now y'all know a little bit about the brown babies of World War II. Now y'all know a little bit about semen and urine and snot. I don't know. I don't know. This has been another episode of the Morning Mac Show. I want to say thank you to all my listeners who tuned in and liked and share. That's the only way we're going to be able to grow. If you tune in, like, and you share. Y'all come back tomorrow for my Friday show. Hopefully we have a special guest on the show Friday. And we're just going to chop it up. Rest in peace, Coolio. To all my family and friends in Florida, stay safe. All around the world, y'all stay safe. We love you. Thank you for dropping in. That's as we do go out, do a roll call. Thank you, Latrice. Thank you, Z. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, Slicky Woo Boo. Thank you. I love you guys. We will see you guys tomorrow.